So my question is this, and this came to me, and I have not actually heard this addressed in all of the things that I've been listening to, and it was kind of an incredible thing for me. I'm a very empathetic person. I feel a lot of things, and
Are you all over the board with your vibration? Do you have empathy for all ranges of emotions? Because if you do, you might want to do something about that, because the way you feel does equal your point of attraction.
I know.
And that, yeah.
I know, and that's my question. So there's two parts of this, but the first part is, so I work, and part of my co-creative experience has been that I've been able to become, through my own health, getting better, I've been able to help others. I'm a health and wellness and life coach. And so I get to spend time with people every day in that kind of an experience. And also, I'm a mother, and I have 3 grown children. And there's this part of me that's very feeling part, very empathetic part. And with that, I'm able to really relate.
Well, let's use some other words. Let's call you aware. Let's call you a sifter. Let's call you observant. Let's call you really good at step 1. You're evaluating. And let's call you an active guidance system that lets you know whether in any moment what you're focused upon is helping you and them or not. But to say I am empathetic, that's like saying my guidance system is stuck here. Every time you use that word, you are either making an excuse for or locking yourself in to less than deliberate thought. In other words, you might say that Jesus, who was really good at helping people find wellness, you might say that he was empathetic with wellness even when they were dripping illness. So just tune your empathy to their greatest good and your own.
Yes, and I do that most
That's
of
a
the
big
time.
thing. Did you hear it? Tune your empathy. Don't just bumble in and let whatever the strongest vibration is rule you. Prepare yourself. Take what you take to the table deliberately. Get yourself tuned in and then go somewhere, and you won't pick up on the vibrations of others. But if you are limp and unfocused and you go in, then whatever is the strongest vibration in the room is going to sweep you in an empathetic way, maybe closer to your guidance system, like in this room, or maybe not closer to your guidance system. You want to be in control of what you're offering. And so this is a wonderful conversation to have, because what we're talking about is it's not what you find once you get into the room, it's the vibrational preparation you've done before you entered the room. So for example, if you've meditated, or if you've been basking, if you took a walk, if you've been making lists of positive aspects, if you've been appreciating so that you're tuned in, tapped in, turned on, when you walk into a room, there could be a lot going on in there that you wouldn't even sense because they're on one vibrational frequency and you're on another. But if you blunder into the day, if you're worrying about what was going on yesterday, if you're complaining about this or that or the other, so you've tuned yourself there and you walk into a room, you're going to feel empathy for the lowest common denominator. Empathy is not a gift. It's a emotional response to vibration. And the question is, what have you done to prepare yourself? You are your highest vibration when you first wake up because you've thought the fewest thoughts. There have been less resistant thoughts in your thinking, and so there's less resistance when you first wake up. And while you slept, any resistant momentum did slow down or subside altogether. And so when you first wake up, and then it's what you do next that matters the most. Also, this is really a wonderful conversation, because when someone proclaims themselves as empathetic, they are also acknowledging that they are living, while maybe not wanting to, very conditional life, because their emotions are responding to the conditions around them. And since you can't control conditions around you, then you really don't have much control of the way you feel. So that's why we would like to talk about what are you bringing to the table when you get off to yourself and get tuned in, so that you do have control over what comes back to you because you have mastered control about what you're outputting. But someone who's living a sort of conditional life walks into a room, observes this and observes that and observes this and observes that, gets a mixed bag of vibration going, and then you can be empathetic to a whole lot of things that aren't your intention, that aren't in sync with your inner being, that don't feel good to you, that don't feel good to whoever it is you're coaching. In other words, who's coaching who? And someone who's empathetic is being coached by their environment.
I love that you use the word conditional because I have been asking to be unconditional. I've been asking for that.
Well, let's talk about what unconditional means. Unconditional, it doesn't mean don't evaluate conditions. Unconditional means, now you're really going to like this, and you'll hear it easily because we've already explained it a few times, and now in this framework it will really make sense. So when you meditate, you stop thought. You focus on something that requires very little thought, like, can you hear a sound in this room like something to do with the air conditioner? Hear that sort of hum? That's a good thing to focus on because it's not interesting. So it won't get your mind wandering. Oh, that's not as nice as other hums I've heard. You don't project a lot of thoughts about that. So when you quiet your mind, you'll stop resistant thought. And then when there's no resistance, your natural vibration will rise. And as it does, then you sync up with the vibration of your inner being. So no condition took you there. In fact, absence of conditions took you there. Unconditioned allowed you to be there. It's like picture a cork bobbing on the surface and hold it under the water. That's really conditional, but when you let go of it, it sort of unconditionally floats to the surface. You sort of get the sense of what we're going for. So a lot of people want to feel good, and under these conditions, under such and such conditions, they do. And then they want to recreate those conditions so that they will continue to feel better. But, it's such a big job. It's so much better to just trust that you will feel good unless you do that thing you do that doesn't let you feel good. That's the piece that we would like you to take away from this gathering above all others. You will feel good. You will tune in. You will be in vibrational sync. You will be vibrationally equivalent to your inner being. You will be tuned in, tapped in, turned on. You will experience connection with the energy that creates worlds unless you do that thing you do that doesn't allow it. What's that thing you do that doesn't allow it? You focus on conditions that are of a different vibrational nature. So conditional love is, I need these conditions to change so that I will feel better. And we say, maybe sometimes you can exercise enough control that you can get somebody to stand on their head and please you, but everybody won't, and that one won't for very long. Unconditional love is accepting that love is without condition. I don't have to earn it. I don't have to prove it. I just have to be in a vibration that does not disallow it. That's the ultimate unconditional. And you'll get really good at it. And then you can roam around in all kinds of conditions that are really wonky and unpleasant, and they won't upset you because you've got such a habit of vibrational frequency that conditions just don't upset you. Because you've got something more going on. You've got connection with source energy. Helpful?
Actually, you brought forth something that I have been wishing for, and I didn't even ask for that question, and it came.
Well, that's because all the pieces of your question you've been putting in your vortex for a while. And even though you couldn't really articulate it as such, it was all right there and easy for us to see. And since we are not affected by your state of being, we were able to give it to you anyway. We always do. We give brilliant answers to every single question. But that doesn't matter. The question is, are you in the receiving mode to receive it? That's what's going on here. And you were, and you did. You see? So.
Yeah. So for the feeling part, especially with the part of this that I desire so much to apply that unconditional part, is with my children that are grown, and that I feel that cord.
We want you to consider something, because even before you said the word children, when you said, I desire so much. Now, can you feel the resistance in that? I desire this thing I do not have.
I love I know.
How painful that is.
I know.
And so you got to back off of those kinds of things because the solutions aren't coming right now as long as you're feeling that way. Here's the thing. If you practice alignment relative to the things that it's easy to feel alignment about, then in time, even the things that are not easy, you'll feel alignment about because the alignment becomes what you're looking for, not the solution to the problem. Did you hear that? I can feel alignment relative to this and this and this and this and this, but not that. Well, then don't think about that. But it's the most important thing, we know, but don't think about that. But it matters the most to me of all other things put together. Start arguing for your limitations. Focus on the things that it's easy for you to feel alignment about until that ease of alignment is what's dominant within you. And then your children will say to you, I don't think you love me as much as you used to. Because you don't yell at me as much. You don't worry about me as much. They would be misunderstanding, wouldn't they? And then you could say to them, oh, I love you just as much. I'm just not blocking my love. And sometimes it's the blocking of love that makes you think it's love. Most people think love should hurt. If you love me, you'll give up stuff for me. If you really love me, you'll suffer for me. You'll prove your love for me with your suffering. And all you prove with your suffering is that you can block yourself from connection, which is what love is, connection. Something more?
No, that was beautiful.
Really good.
Thank you. Thank you